this meeting of the Connecticut Real Estate Appraisal Commission, and welcome. Spring is here, finally, after a tough month and what have you, but we have a very joyous day here in that we have a new member who is joining us. And Maria, welcome aboard. You're on mute, and please, you feel free to get off mute. And we first order of business, and we haven't done it in such a while, but Vicky, I believe, do you give the oath? You're on mute, Vicky. You're on mute. Vicky, you're on mute. Vicky, you're still on mute. We see you twice. We got two cameras on you, but we're both on mute.
Not working.
Okay, you're still on mute.
Hello?
Vicky?
Hi, good morning.
There you go. There you go. Well,
Okay,
welcome. We'll
good
start
morning,
again.
everyone.
Maria, welcome. And Vicky, I'm turning over to Vicky for the swearing in, okay?
Okay, good morning. Maria, it's up to you as to whether or not you want to stand. We'll swear you in. If you want to, you can. If you don't, it's fine too. Raise your right hand if you'd be so kind, okay? You solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as a member of the Connecticut Real Estate Appraisal Commission to the best of your ability, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury.
I do.
Okay, and please just state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Sure. Maria Rivera, R-I-V-E-R-A.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Bishop.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Maria,
Thank
could you
you.
take just a few moments to just give an introduction so we know a little bit about you, where you're working, and all those things, so
Sure.
we all know.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, really, for allowing me to be part of this commission. My name is Maria Rivera. I am my title is going to change, but Supervisor of Housing Counseling here at Neighborhood Housing Services of Waterbury. I've been here for 10 years. I work with individuals who are purchasing their first time home. I'm working with individuals who are in foreclosure or imminent foreclosure. I teach financial education workshops, landlord education workshops, financial literacy. So we do a lot of community building and engagement as well here at NHS of Waterbury. And we also do real estate development.
Great. Well, we are so happy that you're on, and welcome aboard. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. And moving next here, as we see, there's nothing to report on the National Registry, but now another big welcome here to our good friends from the ASC, Jenny and Tom. And Jenny, you keep thinking you'll never see me again each time, and it's been I don't know how many cycles, but more than we both want to count. If we did cycles with birthday candles, we'd have to cost the Forest Service because of fire hazard, that we may be causing. But I welcome you both, Jenny and Tom, and I open the floor to both of you if there's anything you would like to say or update or whatever the case. The floor is yours, you two.
Jenny, do you mind if I go ahead?
Go right ahead, Tom.
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning. And my name's Tom Lewis. I am the newest policy manager that's been hired by the ASC. Matter of fact, if you look at the annual report and look down at the staff, you'll see a thing that says policy manager vacant. That's me. So I will answer to Tom or vacant, whatever you prefer to call me. It doesn't matter. But I'm happy to be here. I feel very fortunate that I have Jenny with me. As Mr. Rasmussen said, Jenny has done this for quite a while. She's going to guarantee that I don't fail or screw up too bad. So I'm very happy again to have her with me. And I'm looking forward to this. And I want to go ahead and say up front, just express my appreciation to the staff who've been very cooperative and very responsive to us thus far. Again, looking forward to seeing you guys in person. We're planning on being there the 25th, I believe, is when we'll start doing our examinations. And from what I understand about Connecticut, y'all have had a good history, performed well in the past, and things, hopefully will go well this time. So again, thank you for having me and letting Jenny and I attend. And I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Or
We're glad to have you.
thank you.
Bill or Jenny, anything, or William, excuse me, anything more to add, or?
Are you directing that my way, Jerry?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate the invitation, number one, to be included. I'm, for the record, in my second term on the AQB. I'm an Ohio General Certified Appraiser, been in practice for decades, and very, very excited to be here today and kind of give an update on PREA, answer some of your questions, and hopefully be helpful in general. So thank you for including me.
You're more than welcome, and thank you. Jenny, would you like to say anything?
Well, it's good to be here again, and I will be assisting Tom on the compliance review. And I'm just glad to be here. And again, Tom and I will answer any questions and talk about anything you want to talk about.
Great. And we wish you, I know you'll be coming up the end of the month, so good trip ahead. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. We're going to jump into old business, folks. And here we go. Maria and Bill, now the floor is formally yours, so we open it up to whatever things you would like to say and so forth. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I know that you've had a full run through of the PREA slide deck, so I won't try to bore you again on that front, but there are a couple of important updates that I think are worth mentioning. First of all, we've had 9 concept reviews submitted by education and a for-profit company as potential providers of the PREA program. I'm very optimistic that we will have one approved, if not more than one, during this year, probably the end of Q2 or into Q3. An interesting element is we've had over 2,600 independent individuals make requests on the Foundation's website. Questions about PREA, where is it, when can I take it, how much is it going to cost, and so on. Now, I wouldn't expect all of those individuals to proceed down the licensure track, but we're very optimistic that that's going to be a positive, an interesting appeal for people seeking to enter the profession. And I think you're also aware that we granted a $500,000 Pathway to Success conditional grant to the Appraisal Institute last summer. We continue to get very strong updates and good input from them, and so that's very encouraging to report. The other thing that might be of interest is we now have 40 states that in one way or another have indicated that PREA will be acceptable. They're fully adopted, and I won't read these all off to you, but Colorado, DC, Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, Maine, Montana, Nebraska, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, and Texas. Kansas remains the only state that has partially adopted PREA, and they're using the practicum option to fill the gap between PREA and full experience acceptance. You might know there's a number of states that adopt the AQB's criteria by reference. So those are 11 in number, and there's 5 more that are indicating that they will do so as well. There's also rulemaking in progress. We do have Connecticut on that list. Not that you have formally undertaken a direct acceptance of the program, but there's 17 states that have moved forward with the PREA conversation. And there are another 16 that are still in the midst of consideration. Some of these are the outer territories, as I call them, Samoa, Guam, and so forth, which is where I personally want to make an in-person visit. But I guess the bottom line is we're getting a lot of really, really good interest and positive reception of the PREA program. It's I think people recognize the strong attributes that PREA can bring to the table. Number one, conquering our number one concern that we hear, people not being able to find a supervisor. And then I think important of late is the recognition that the PREA program is totally blind to race, gender, religious beliefs. If your name sounds strange, you name it. The program is not at all involved in any sort of prejudice. So that's had a very strong reception as we talk to people around the country. The last thing I want to cover before opening up to questions is I know there's a concern or question in a number of states is how does the AQB go about approving a PREA program? How do we determine that it's meeting the minimum levels of the criteria that are stated? And I can speak in depth here if you'd like, but it's a very rigorous process. When we receive a program, 2 board members are assigned with detailing specifics around both the LR and CR components within 5 business days. So we're not sitting on it, that's for sure. We then schedule a demo with all board members involved, and we'll have probably a 1 or 2 hour session around that demo, both in terms of listening to the demo as well as back and forth questions that you would predict. And one of the keys in the demo session is representative samples of each of the major sections that are within the PREA criteria. And then we'll follow this up with a draft response to the provider as to shortcomings and good components as well, not just negative. Once we get to a juncture where we feel sufficient details exist, we'll have the foundation staff in conjunction with the board complete a very thorough letter of response. And once the conditions of that letter are satisfied, we'll have a vote to accept the program and then notify stakeholders such as yourselves that that particular provider and their program meets the PREA criteria. It would still be up to each state to accept the PREA as an alternative pathway. It doesn't replace any of the methods that an individual can gain experience currently, whether it's by having a supervisor or by taking practicum type coursework, but it does go a long ways towards streamlining the process, but not sacrificing the quality of the experience being gained. So I hope that helps at least open the door, and trust that I can handle your questions. If not, we'll find someone that can.
Well, thank you for the presentation and, an overview. If I may, and I'll just have one quick question. We keep hearing this over and over again. What will be the forecasted, has it been defined, the cost for the individual person who may want to go down this path to achieve, their experience? Has that dollar amount been more defined?
No, Jerry, it's going to be driven by the market and up to each individual provider. As I mentioned before, there's a number of for-profit companies that are creating PREA programs, so they may have an entirely different formula for cost or reimbursement or whatever you'd like to label it. Maybe years of service to offset what that cost could be up front. Don't know. So that's still an open-ended item. I'm sure in the scheme of things, it's going to be an important investment. And I can say from what I know that we have credit rating agencies, Wall Street, secondary market, primary market, already stepping up to offer scholarships. And how those might be awarded, of course, is still undefined, but I don't believe that cost is going to be a huge impediment here, given what I understand some of the options are that are starting to come forward.
Okay. Thank you. This I will do. I'll open it to questions. Anyone from the commissioners. After that, if they have no questions, then staff, and then the general public. So they're a little bit of order. So I open up to other commission members. Are there any questions that you want to put forth?
Jerry, John Gall, I got a question. Bill, is it still strictly residential? All the PIREA programs coming forward?
Technically, yes, John, but remember that for the general certified, half of the hours of experience that are required are residentially based. So it would satisfy at least half of the general certified at this juncture. We also expect there to be a full GC program subsequent to the residential one. But most of the demand, as you can predict, is on the residential side at the current time. So that's where we've been focused.
Can you also go back? You talked about Kansas. What did Kansas? Did they adopt anything yet, or they just?
They're still in the midst of it, from what I understand, John. That they feel that they want to accept half of PREA, or having PREA account for half of their experience requirements, with the other half achieved through passage of practicum courses. Now, I've not talked to Kansas specifically, so but what my knowledge is of their position is what I just stated.
All right, and then the other 40, are we in that 40 group?
Correct. We, I think, misrepresented that Connecticut was moving towards adoption. And obviously, you all are still discussing, and maybe you will be moving that direction, but there was a citation on the foundation's website that you were in the process of adopting it, and that was an error, and we did correct that.
No, we've adopted the concept. We're just trying to figure out how to regulate it, et cetera. Yep. Yep. From what you're saying, it sounds like out of the 40, they're all pretty much going to accept PIREA. It's just there probably might be some tail end local assignments that have to be done or something. Is that what's going on?
It's been a mixed bag on that, because if you do have to do assignments at the end, you're really continuing the same issue as the person has now. I've got to go out and find a supervisor to oversee those 2 to 5 or 10 assignments that would be required. So we're discouraging that. We certainly can't tell states not to do it, and certainly states have other requirements, including administrative law and whatever that would be required before an individual could get credentialed.
So was part of the intent of this program that once somebody completes this, that they can actually go out and get licensed in a state, hang a shingle, and hit the ground running?
They still have to pass the national exam, of course.
Right. Yeah, but
so that's the final filter. So our profession is based on qualifying education, obviously experience such as PREA and so on that we've already talked about, and then lastly the national exam.
all right. Thank you very much. I have no more questions. Thank you. Thank you for
Any
coming.
other
Like this.
any other commissioners? Maria, Shauna, Norris, Linda.
Just one quick question, sir. What's the cost of the program going to be? You guys figured that out yet?
We won't be determining that, so it will be market driven. I think that there could be a lot of different models of cost involved because, as I mentioned, there's a number of for-profit companies that are developing a PREA program, and they might use a different method besides just writing a check when it comes to signing up for their course. And so it's too early to really predict what that will be. I think in conjunction with the scholarship monies, which are growing by the day, by the way, I don't foresee cost as being an impediment here.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Other commission members? No questions?
Bill, I got one more quick question.
Sure.
Is there anything wrong with us as a commission once we accept the thing? If someone shows up after they completed the PIREA program, and of us requiring them just to go out and appraise maybe 2 houses locally on their own, they can just pick them and appraise them without actually having a supervisor and address those reports to the commission? There's nothing wrong with that, correct? I mean, if we have
that is correct. That's correct. The only time a supervisor is required is for delivery of a product that is in the public sphere, lending purposes, probate, etc. So if it's strictly for an example, I suppose that would be accepted, John. We've not seen that, but that could certainly be accepted.
Because personally, that's the direction I'm kind of leaning into, because I think anybody who finishes this program is probably likely to have a job, but there may be a few who don't have a job, and this gives them the option of actually finishing and getting their license. So thank you very much.
Yeah, a sample appraisal is what you're kind of talking about there, right?
Just on appraising something locally, so we can get although we don't have this word defined anywhere, geocompetency down, so they understand the local market in which they plan to participate in.
Right. Yeah, and that competency of all types has come up before, and we look at geographic competency just as we would quality of construction, river view, you name it. You capture that skill confidence by a lot of different methods. It could be education, it could be working with a peer, it could be by taking additional coursework, you name it. You guys up in the Northeast have a lot of oil burning furnaces. I can promise you, if a Californian would have no idea what you're talking about, nor would they need to know, probably. So those are the kinds of locally driven characteristics that you gain through the practice of the profession over time.
John, you're good?
I'm good. I really appreciate
Okay.
this too. Thank you.
Thank you. Shauna, I think I saw you your screen lighting up. Did you have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Norris and Maria, you're good with questions? Okay. Linda, are you on? I don't think so. Okay. Staff, anybody with any questions from staff that would like to pose a question here? Debbie, you may be on mute. If you, there you go.
I don't have anything. Vicky,
Okay.
No.
No.
Okay, great.
We have to
Okay.
coordinate our mute.
Oh,
button.
okay. I forgot about that. Thank you. My bad. My bad. General public and thank you for those of the general public joining us here today. Any questions? Going once, twice, three times a charm. Okay. Therefore, we'd like to thank you very much for taking the time, coming and joining us, and being very open and answering every question we put forth. So, and giving us a nice overview. We sincerely appreciate it.
I'm available, or others are available, Jerry, if there's any need in the future, of course. And the foundation staff in particular is very responsive, and I know I've worked with Vicky before, and we'll do all we can to deal with any issues or questions that might arise now or in the future.
Thank you so very, very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank
you. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Folks, in my excitement of having Maria joining us and having Jenny and Tom joining us, I forgot, and what a dingbat I am with it, we got to go over the minutes of and accept the minutes from March. So, there I go, and there I am, late night coconut me. So let's go back, and we had the minutes from March. Members, are there any edits, corrections, revisions, anything needed?
On the last page, do we want to say all meetings would be held through the Zoom meeting platform, or are we using the Teams?
I guess that's what we ought to make that revision, right? I need help from staff. Are we gone to all Teams now, correct?
Yes, according to Jason, we're
Right.
going to be on Teams. Yep.
All right, so we'll make that revision on there. Any other revisions, edits? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion for the revised minutes? Then that is Teams versus Zoom on the last page. Can I get a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the March 8th minutes as
Okay.
revised.
John has a motion.
I'll second.
Shauna is the second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, ayes,
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions? Okay, that does pass. All right then. So my bad, getting all too excited here, spring is in the air. And okay, number 2, under our old business, we have RCR applicant Kyle Hart with supervisor RCR Scott Hart joining us. Our Mr. Hart with us.
Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We see you there. Welcome. And hello. And for the record, I need you to both give your names, spelling of your last name, and your address of employment.
Okay. Kyle Hart, H-A-R-T, and I work at L&L Appraisals Incorporated, Branford, Connecticut, 20 Buttermilk Lane.
Thank you.
Scott Hart, H-A-R-T. My place of employment is the same as well, 20 L&L Appraisal, 20 Buttermilk Lane, Branford, Connecticut.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Members of the commission, Debbie had forwarded to us Mr. Hart's samples that were requested. And so Mr. Hart, so you understand how this process will go. It'll go approximately no more than 20 minutes, combined from our folks here. I'm as the acting chairman. I can ask questions, but I only vote in the event there's a tie. Okay, so just to let everyone know, and then so we will open it up for members of the commission to ask any questions that may be put forth. So I open this up to members of the commission. Are there any questions that you would like to present for Mr. Hart? Welcome, Linda. You are on mute. You're just popping up, and I saw you on the screen, but saw that you were on mute. Well, I'll
Jennifer,
start. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Jennifer, are you able to unmute Linda? She's having a problem getting
Let
her.
me see. I am not, it doesn't give me the option to mute or unmute her.
Okay, Linda, do you want me to call you? Shake your head, yes or no.
She might also have to dial in. I'm not sure why this is happening though.
Do you want to
Debbie-
dial in? Or should I call you and hold the phone up?
Let it down.
Do you want to dial in? You have
Okay.
the dial in phone number there that I sent you.
Okay. Well, while that is being worked on, Mr. Hart here, I looked at your property of 16 Fox Run Drive in Cromwell.
Yes, sir.
Is that report? This is a representation of your work, or how much of this work did you do?
That's a representation of my work.
Okay. What was unique about this property or this appraisal assignment that maybe presented a challenge or challenges to you?
Would I be able to open up the report
Please,
on my?
please do.
Okay.
And other members of the commission, I'll be turning this over to you in just a moment here for your questions.
I'm sorry,
Just
Gary.
trying-
I'll get that open for you.
Okay,
16 Fox Run Drive.
that's correct.
Okay.
That was done for a Rocket Mortgage.
Yes, sir.
That was
Okay.
oh,
Yes, and the so the uniqueness about this property is that it was a for sale by owner property, and that when I was out at site, the owner disclosed to me that he had not offered the property for sale until the sale of the property by the buyer. So it was a unique scenario where the buyer contacted the seller, and it was never offered on the open market. And I thought this was unique to the property, no, to the sale of the property.
Okay. And how did you address that uniqueness or circumstances on this transaction in the appraisal report?
Just by indicating that that it was a for sale by owner, and in the subject section, and that it had not been offered for sale in the prior 12 months, because that's what the seller had told me.
Okay. And in your research or work product, was it your opinion that this did represent market parameters or at an arm's length transaction?
Yes, it did. It did. Yes.
So they were not, the buyer and seller were not related or friends or, okay.
No.
Fair enough. I open questions up and hopefully Linda is on, and I open up for other commission members to jump in with their questions, please, for Mr. Hart.
So I guess I'll go. I know you
Please.
guys don't hear this too often, but I thought these reports were very good. So I thought they were excellent. And I'm the assessor in Kyle and Cromwell. I actually checked your value against mine, so it's pretty close. So I thought that was very good. The only thing I would have to comment is on your multi, you put it on your land. You had a dollar amount instead of rounding. You know, it's probably better to round, but that's
Okay.
probably the comment. Instead of putting to a dollar, it makes it seem like an exact science, and there's certainly no way there's an exact science there.
Okay.
But I thought they were very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? Maria, I know that this is new to you, so you have not seen this, so I know you're listening, and we get that. And when it comes to a vote, if you feel comfortable to recuse yourself, we understand, you know. But Linda, John, Norris, any questions?
I have none. Just what Shauna says, I thought it was refreshing, so I have no questions at all. Thank you.
Okay. Norris?
If Shauna's good, I'm good.
Okay. Linda? Are we, I can see Linda, but okay, I can't, we can't hear you. So you're okay? Are you okay with this, thing? Okay, she's going, all right, can I get a motion
I will
to,
make a motion to accept his reports and let him move on to the next step.
okay, I have a motion on the
second it.
floor by Shauna, a second by
I'll
Norris.
second it.
Discussions? Hearing none, we'll call to vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Show of hands, Linda, if you are okay. Okay, nays, abstentions. Maria, do you want to abstain or are you a yes or no? I need you to go off mute.
I will abstain.
Okay, so we'll show the record that Maria will abstain on this vote. Congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hart.
Thank you.
Job well done. Staff will let you know the next steps and so forth. Okay,
Okay.
it may take a day or two before you hear from them, but we wish you nothing but the very, very best. And
Thank you.
and good luck with your exam and so forth. And if we can ever be of any assistance, help, or what have you, feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you,
And
Commissioner.
have a good day, gentlemen.
Appreciate
Take care.
it.
Ask me about the CE site.
You're welcome. Okay.
I think
Mo- Oh, well, you have a question? I'm so sorry.
Just a quick question about, somebody brought up to me, this is Scott, his Kyle's father, about our CE cycle. That it's moved up, that the CE has to be completed by January 1st. Is that correct?
I thought it was January 31st.
The 31st.
31st.
Okay.
The end of Jan,
January
that is
30th.
correct.
Okay.
Mr. Hart, more and more states are going that way. I will tell you, California, they've had it for years. You got to be four months ahead of time.
Okay.
But your license is good till the end of April, but you got to get your CE done by the 31st of January.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more
Jerry.
than welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
All right. Now moving to number 3, report sample selection. It was a RCG applicant, Rachel Geiger, and Supervisor Mr. Arnold Grant. Are they both with us this morning? And if we could unmute their lines.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rachel. Is Arnold with you or Mr. Grant with us here?
Yeah, he should be.
Okay. All right. Very good. Bear with me a moment here. I had looked up and looked at your report in Kent, Connecticut. We're getting some feedback. Has someone got their speakerphone on or? Okay, well, let's try again here. Rachel, I looked at your report on up in Kent, Connecticut of your sample. Do you have that one available?
Yes.
All right, great. I'm trying to pull it up on my screen as well, but this is a unique situation, and I wanted to ask, what hurdles and what scope did you have on this assignment that you found a challenge?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to mention that Arnold had actually done this appraisal prior to us doing it again with a previous associate of his. So there was a lot of it already finished before we had to redo it. But I would say just the fact that there is pretty much nothing like it anywhere around in the area. So having to firstly rely on the cost approach, it was a new building, so we were able to use the budget from the contractors and any information the owners had. And then, of course, we also did the sales approach just to check the value against that, but we had to use like retail and industrial buildings that weren't very much like them at all. But it was a really interesting property, and we actually have done it multiple times. So it was cool to kind of see, like, I think the first time we went, it was just a shell. And then the second time we went, it was like built out and it had art inside of it already. So yeah, the biggest challenge I would say was just the fact that it was just a completely unique property.
I think there were many challenges with something like this, and to say it is a unique property and in that location made it exponentially unique. So I applaud you both going for that. I don't care. I only know of 2 other properties that use that usage in the state. One being down in Greenwich, shocking, and what we have here has there been demand for the utilization for what this was going for? Did you find a lot of usage in that marketplace?
Yeah, so that area of Connecticut, it's got like a lot of art. I think a lot of museums, a lot of galleries, and a lot of people that live in that area. They come from New York City, so they have small apartments there and nowhere to store their art. So I did some research. I read some articles about the demand for art storage. Obviously, you can't just put like a expensive piece of art in a regular storage locker. You need to have humidity control and, in case of fire, like emergency stuff like that. So yeah, I found some articles that talked a lot about the demand for art storage. And we also, this most recent time that we did the appraisal, the owner had already been leasing space out to people. So he already had some art in storage.
Okay. Thank you. I open it up for other members of the commission. Any questions on this or any other report that was submitted by Ms. Geiger? Oh, excuse me. I'm bad again. Ms. Geiger, you've got to give your first and last name, spelling of your last name, and place of employment address. I'm so sorry. Vicky, I could feel your vibes heading toward me. My apologies.
Rachel Geiger, Geiger, and I work for Arnold Grant Associates, 46 Prospect Street, Hartford, Connecticut.
And is Arnold on as well, Mr. Grant?
Yes, I can't hear him though.
Okay. So he is on, is that correct?
Yeah, I can see him.
He's on and
Okay.
he's not muted. I'm not sure what the heck's going on today. I apologize
Okay.
for
For the record, he is on. So Rachel, could you at least give his name, spelling of his last name, and place of employment?
Sure. Arnold Grant, Grant, Arnold Grant Associates, 46 Prospect Street, Hartford, Connecticut.
Thank you. Okay. Boy, I'm having a tough one today, folks. What can I say? Very good. I open it back up to members of the commission. Any questions to put forth here?
Hi, Rachel. John Gell, I got some questions for you.
Sure.
First, Arnold, is she ready to get certified? You shake your head yes or no? I think he's saying yes. Rachel, how long have you been appraising now in Connecticut?
So I started working for Arnold in October of 2016. I got my provisional in December of 2017.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
I know. I read the Kent property. I've appraised everything around it. I know that's a unique property, and it is amazing the demand. There's actually a building behind it that had a guy that restored art up there. Yeah. Really high-end stuff. So I understand that was a complicated assignment. I just got a couple of general questions for you. So in our world, we have standard 1, we have standard 2. Standard 1 being the appraisal process. This is something that comes up a lot in our commission. Standard 2 being how we communicate that appraisal process. And I know you work for someone who has a format that's been accepted within the market for many, many, many years. But I've just got a couple of questions in general about communicating. Okay. When you go out, I'm looking at the Imlay Street report right now, just as an example, which I think is one of your more current ones. And I like, by the way, how you handled the taxes and the tax increase, and you actually addressed that in the report so that you're not misleading and not overstating value. But when you go out and actually confirm a sale, can you just run by the process of what you actually do?
So when we confirm sales, we would first we would look to see if there was a broker, because they're usually the most willing to speak with you and they understand, why you're reaching out for this information. So we look for the broker, send them an email or give them a phone call if there was one. If there wasn't one, it's a little more complicated. We'll check the grantor or grantee if it's an individual. See if we can find their contact information. If it's a company, check the Secretary of State website just to see if there's any way we can contact them. And then I'll send them an email. I try to explain, you know, all the information I have is public record. And I'm just looking to use this sale as, you know, a confirmation so that I can use it in my report. And if they just wouldn't mind just confirming, you know, sale date, price, arm's length sale, stuff like that.
What are some of the other questions that you ask when you confirm a sale?
I guess I would ask, so let's see, arm's length sale, confirm the date, the price, and if there was anything that they think I should know about the sale, any extenuating circumstances, anything like that.
Did you freeze up?
Oh, sorry.
All right. And then on the on just quickly here on 124 Newberry Road, East Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
On your cost approach. Trying to get
Yes.
to it. I'm sorry. You have the exactual. You use the my quick question here. Do you actually ever go out and use cost comparables or anything like that? Have you done that before?
I don't believe we've used cost comparables, no.
Would you consider that?
Yeah, definitely.
And what's probably, besides the Kent thing, what's probably the hardest, most challenging assignment you've appraised so far?
We recently did an industrial, well, I say industrial building. It was like part industrial, part office. There was like a portion of it that was used as a yoga studio. The owner was not very forthcoming with his income information. He was a little hostile when we were there, asking questions. He was upset because he said, you know, the bank should have given you this, the bank should have given you that. So I would say that was a pretty difficult one. It was like a lot, it was like 60% vacant, so the income numbers weren't looking good for him. That was probably in recent times that I can think of the most challenging.
Did you have to use any extraordinary assumptions in that report?
I don't have the report in front of me, but
you have used extraordinary assumptions in situations like that periodically?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
I have no further questions. Thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome. Shauna, Linda, Maria, Norris, any questions? Okay, no, I'm seeing shaking of hands or shaking of heads. No, okay. If there are no other questions, may I, and I have no other questions, can I hear a motion? Can a motion be put forth on the floor?
I make a motion that we accept Rachel Geiger's experience credits.
Okay, John has put a motion for Ms. Geiger's sample reports to be approved. Can I hear a second? Or a show of a hand, because we're muted here.
I'll second.
Okay. Shauna, we have a second. Discussions? Hearing none, we'll call this to a vote. In the event, because we have a lot muted, if you say, if I, raising your right hand, we could do that. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 34. Okay. Nays, abstentions? Maria, do you want to abstain, or would you like to vote affirmative?
Affirmative.
Okay, affirmative. Okay, so congratulations. It's unanimous. Ms. Geiger, congratulations. The staff will get back to you in the next couple of days, you know, on the next process. We wish you nothing but the very best in your career moving forward. And if you should ever have any questions, concerns, comments, or what have you, feel free to join us. We're more than welcome, you know, to reach out. Good luck with your career. Thank you. Okay, moving now to the next one, number 4, report sample selection review, RCG applicant Ben Gallo with supervisor Patrick Lemp. Can we please unmute them and bring them? And gentlemen, if you could go up on the screen, I would appreciate that.
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gallo. For the record, could you give us your name, spelling of your last name, and your address of employment?
Sure. Name is Ben Gallo, Gallo. Work for Valbridge Property Advisors, 15 Concord Street in Glastonbury.
Very good. And is Mr. Lemp here with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Good morning,
All
Pat.
right, good to see you all.
Could you, your name, spelling your last name, and place of employment, Pat, for the record?
Patrick Lemp, Lemp. Oh, geez, wouldn't you know? I'm getting a phone call right when we when that is. Lemp, Valbridge Property Advisors, 15 Concord Street, Glastonbury, Connecticut, 06033.
Very good. As you were both on before, you know the process that we're looking at here and so forth. We had selected some reports. We have some questions and so forth. I'm going to open it up with a quick question here, Mr. Gallo. The property that you did over in Mystic, the Seaport Marina.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that report in front of you or not. That was done as of October of 2020. And interesting, and I liked how you put your report here together. Is this a fair representation of your work product?
Yes, it is.
Did you do 50%, 80%, 90, 100%? What percentage would you say of this work represents your input?
Well, I would say the vast majority. For this, I'd probably say 90%. I mean, there was definitely, there's conversations between Pat and I and kind of how to tackle this one, since it was a bit of an atypical property. As you can probably guess, I don't have an extensive background in appraising marinas, but we did a fair amount of legwork and learning about the industry in this one. And by the end, I did learn quite a bit, and I would say that this is fairly representation of fairly all of my work. I would say so, 90%.
Okay. I noticed that you had in the extraordinary assumptions here, and I applaud both of you here with the different regulations that go in this world that people would not even have thought about: the Army Corps of Engineers or the Department of Environmental Protection by the state of Connecticut, and all the permits and licenses and everything that has to obtain to do such a thing. So I applaud you guys for doing that. I have a philosophical question here. There is no right nor wrong answer here. I see that you looked at your value conclusions, but this was our marinas done on a going concern basis, or are you strictly on the real estate side of the fence? And it's not only for you, Mr. Gallo, but Pat, feel free to jump in.
Sure. This, like I said, it's an atypical kind of property here where, there definitely is a good amount of parts of these marinas. There's a lot of the value is in, the ability to operate the marina. That being said, this was, this was a market value. We didn't, necessarily delineate or allocate between the business value separate, in terms of if they wanted to sell this, could they sell the real estate and a defined business value? That's not what the job was for us. In terms of overall for the market, I'll pass that one over to Pat. Like I said, I have not done a lot of marinas, so I would assume there's a mixed bag with some people who are looking for the going concern there, but Pat?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So this was a unique assignment in that I don't recall exactly. There were actually, I think, 2 marinas that we had done. So I don't know which one this particular was. They were sort of across the bay, if you will, from each other. But this had a lot of redevelopment potential. With here, you had. If it was the one with the Red 36, you had a restaurant in here, and you had a lot of different elements to it. So I'm not sure how to address your question, John, other than the client will ask, do you want a real estate value or do you
Yep.
want a going concern value? So that we take a look at that. And going concerns are a little bit more complicated because you got a lot of moving parts with winter storage here. You've got services that go along with this, or boat repair, et cetera.
I hear you both very clearly, because the guy who lives in the going concern world, but not in marinas, and we have some that are, hospitals, half of them are real property and half of them are going concern. So,
Right.
The only thing I just say, you were not at all misleading in the report at all. But just when you get these type of things, just make sure you bold that up front. You mention up front, what interest you have, especially when you get into those worlds. I have no other questions. I'm sorry. Thank you. I open it up to other members of the commission. Shauna, Linda, John,
Hi, Ben.
Norris.
This is John Galvin. I got some questions for you. First of all, can you say how long you've been appraising and when did you start? Just a little overview real quick.
Yeah, sure. I started with Pat right out of school in 2017, out of UConn, April of 2018. I think that year after is when I got my provisional. So going on about 5 years now.
All right, and as I asked Rachel, what was probably the most interesting property you've appraised so far besides that marina?
That would have been the easy answer, right? Oh, off the top of my head, I would probably say Stony Creek Brewery down in Brantford was a cool one that we did. That was an interesting property. Got a nice free brewery tour, and it was just one of those places where
we just for the record, we didn't partake.
No, it was 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Just no, but I found it very interesting. Somewhere that I had been previously as a patron to go back and kind of to get into it, talk to the owner, and go through the whole property. I thought that was very interesting.
All right, so I got a couple of questions on this one up in Litchfield.
Sure.
So on you got the report there?
Yep.
On page 45 of the report, I'll let you get there. Underneath the income approach.
45. Yep, I'm here.
The bottom of that, the last paragraph you have in bold. It should be noted that the subject property is in a market with low transactional activity, resulting in lack of available local comparable for appraisers to analyze. And then you went on to explain how you went and looked outside the market. How did you come to that conclusion?
Basically, through my, the time I spent looking, talking to brokers in the market and looking for comps through whether that was CoStar, LoopNet, things, listings, came to find that there's not a lot of activity in that market, which is probably driven by the lack of inventory itself. Litchfield, if you're familiar, is obviously it's a small market. It's a lot of locals, people who live there, who are going out to the businesses. Not a lot of transient activity, people traveling through and stopping by. So once you kind of get into the market and start analyzing it a bit, it became clear that there was not a lot of directly comparable leases occurring in the last 2 to 3 years or so. So we made the decision to kind of jump out to what we determined were comparable markets, just geographically not as proximate.
Okay. I got nothing wrong with the report or anything like that, but I'm just going to encourage you that I don't agree with that statement, okay? Because if there's real activity taking place, there is a market. So I'm going to make a suggestion that going forward, did you go out and knock on any doors and walk in any places? Because there's multi-tenant properties all around this thing.
I did a drive looking for signs and broker signs and windows and things of that nature. I did not go into existing businesses. And
have you ever walked door to door doing a rental survey?
Not for retail. I will say, in the self-storage. I've done a fair amount of work in self-storage properties, and I have gone to facilities and just, popped into the office to discuss their market rates and such.
Okay.
Not
See-
with retail, but I that's a good suggestion.
So besides CoStar in the Litchfield County market, Concom's, is there any other sources you use to go try to find data?
Outside of those kind of aggregate listing sites, we spoke with a few brokers. I might have mentioned that in here.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, this one in particular, Ted Murphy. I think I got a lot of information from him. He's pretty active in the market there. But yeah, no, outside of that, it was mostly just broker opinions, some work that we've done in the past, and CoStar.
Okay. Because MLS up in that market area has a lot of data. So I like I said in the beginning, I encourage you to go when you're moving forward, when you're having trouble getting data, just stop and ask yourself, there's the what market does this property participate in? And then actually go out and find that market and do it. Because in my experience in that market, a lot of people come up in that market area and don't understand that market area, and consequently can be misleading by using data outside that market area. All right. I know this was a special purpose, small little property, and small properties are difficult to appraise, and sometimes we got to go across the state to do it. But I just encourage you going forward just to be a little more, when you can't come across data, just to be more aggressive. I got no other questions. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions by members of the commission? Members of the commission? Hearing none, I'll give it a second. Questions? Okay, hearing none, then can I have a motion on Mr. Gallo's application? I'll make a motion then to approve Mr. Gallo.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion? Questions? Hearing none, I'll call it to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Okay, we passed. Mr. Gallo, congratulations. And you are, moving forward. As I said, in the next couple of days, you will hear from the state, when they, the next process or anything that's going forward here. We wish you nothing but success in the next adventure, trying to get your license and in your career generally. And if you ever should have any questions, concerns, or what have you, always feel free to come back and fire away or ask us. Okay, so nothing but the very best.
Thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
Thank you all.
Take
Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye. Okay, I move now into new business. Log approval and sample selection for RCG applicant Christopher Hibbs. Experience logs were emailed to the commissioners. Reports, report selection. Does anyone have any reports that you want to put forth? Or at this time, is Mr. Hibbs on with us this morning?
No.
Okay.
Jerry, is this RCG or RCR?
Well, it says RCG on the
the log is all single families that I
yeah,
got.
me too. That's why I was.
It could be RCR. That's probably my error. Sorry.
Okay, it happens. Okay, thank you.
So Linda had emailed me yesterday and requested 4 reports, which
Okay.
I was able to get late afternoon and forwarded them to Linda. She was going to review them overnight, if I'm not mistaken, correct, Linda? Okay, I'll call you. Hold on.
Okay, so that means we've selected them, but therefore Linda has done that, which it's great. Shauna, do you have any other ones to add to it?
I picked a couple. I was going to send it to Debbie.
Okay, if we could do that. So those 6, and we put on Christopher Hibbs for what, the next meeting, am I correct?
Yes.
And you will forward whatever those 6 or 5, 6, 7, whatever that number is between you and Linda to all of us, and then we'll be ready to go. Am I missing anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I'd like to give you, before you give me your list there, Shauna, I'd like to give you just the addresses of the reports that Linda selected, so there's no overlap. So we sent her 77 Hickory Hill Road in Simsbury, 1469 Farmington Ave in Bristol, 328 Pine Lane, Weathersfield, and 219 Beaver Street in Ansonia.
I got a quick question on
I
this.
know I didn't pick those, but I'll try to trim my selection down a little because I had quite a few there. So.
Oh, you want me to call you, Linda? Okay, hold on.
I got a quick question on the log, Jared, before we accept the log. I noticed that I have anyway, 4 sheets: Sean O'Rourke, Bobby Bez, John O'Mel. And so does this person have 4 supervisors?
You got 4 supervisors.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that firm's been around those guys have been around for like 40 years. Okay. I'm good with this. I'm good with
Okay,
this.
I'm calling.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, okay? I grabbed these 4 reports yesterday. They were specifically because I wanted to see everything from each supervisor. So I just grabbed those 4 reports. 3 of them ended up being drive-bys, so I wouldn't even value them anyway. So what we need from him, and I don't know that he's got any, because most of his work seems to be drive-by, is a full report to look at with all the types of factors we look in when it's a full report. So the 4 that I did, they're not ones that I would consider. I was just looking to see what it was like under 4 different people. And it was, your stuff was okay, it was great, but on a limited report, there's no extra pages, which was unusual for us because we do drive-bys all the time since it's foreclosure work. We have lots of addendums and extra pages explaining things. So, when you look at those,
After
you might disagree with me, but we definitely need some work from him that's full work. We need something with a cost approach for sure, because none of these drive-bys had a cost approach in them.
After I sent them to you, I forwarded them to you. He emailed me again and he said, do they realize that they were drive-bys? And I said, ooh, good catch. I asked him, I said, well, send me 2 of your 1004s, the best ones, make sure they have the cost approach in them. But then, of course, it was late, so he didn't respond. I just checked. But I will add those to the list for Shauna. I apologize for the feedback. I'm on the phone here with you and I'm not really sure why it's echoing, but.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me back up. Let me back up for just a second. Whatever Shauna and Linda have, what they want, I'm more than good with that. But we got to approve the logs first. Okay. So are there any issues with the logs? 1, 2, if there are none, then we need a motion to approve the logs.
I'll make the motion to approve the logs.
Okay, Shauna has made a motion to approve the logs. Okay, was that you, John, a second?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, John. Discussion, hearing none, ayes? Aye. Nays, abstentions. Okay, we have the logs taken care of. Whatever, you, Linda, or Shauna, feel free. Maria, you just joined. You will start to see these every month, okay? And during the month, you will be getting things from Debbie and so forth, and you can do a review, and this is when we discuss them at this point in time. And then when we get these, this would be coming this month, then we, including yourself, will be reviewing reports, and therefore we will ask questions of the applicant the following month, just to give you an idea of the process, okay? All right, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, Linda and Shauna. And Debbie, whatever you guys were discussing.
So I sent her 5 more and they do say the complete process, so hopefully those will take that in consideration. So.
Mhm.
Okay.
I received.
Okay, great. We're good on this matter. Debbie, we're covered.
Oh, wait, I think I have to state them on record. Hold on. Let me open this email again, sorry.
Okay.
So Shauna would like, I have to open this. Eight Balsam Place in Cheshire. This is by Supervisor Curtis Gray. 213 Funston Avenue in Torrington, also by Curtis Gray.
And I think the other three are in the other email.
Okay. And that one. All right, so this is under Supervisor Sean O'Rourke. 22 Mitchell Court, East Hartford. 81 Working Street, working with an E, in Southington. 150 Summer Street in Portland. And 238 Pine Lane in Weathersfield. I think that's one that I already sent. Yes, I already have that one, so, all right. Yeah.
We're good. We're good then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Questions by any members of the commission on this? I think we're covered. Good. All right. That takes care of the new business, except I'm going to have two things at the end, but let's move through here that kind of come under new, but I believe we should do the discussion at the end here. Legal, Vicky, nothing more to add. It says none, so anything that may have come up?
There are no open cases in legal.
Okay.
I just switched it.
Great. Okay.
There are
And I
no
know.
open cases in legal.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then on the investigations, I saw the case report. I want to thank the staff very immensely, and we'll discuss more next month on the chart that was given. I found that and took a look, and job well done, folks. Very good. And now we're into schools and course approvals.
Jay, can I ask you a question on legal?
Certainly. Yeah.
Sorry about that. When we say that, all right, I just want to make sure that when we say there's no open cases, does that mean that if somebody submitted, Debbie, you mentioned last month that there was a case that was turned over to, if I got this right, the Attorney General's office?
Inspector General?
Thank you.
I'm not, if it's open, I can't discuss anything with you. The only thing that you have is a record of the closed cases, which you asked for from
Yes.
January 1st of last year to the present date. I think it was March 24th that it was the cutoff.
Yep.
So there's still open cases that.
Yes, we have open cases and we can't discuss it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? I didn't mean to rush through, folks, members of the commission. Okay, great. We have school and course approvals. Okay, so we have APL .93, the CE Shop LLC, out of Greenwood Village, Colorado. This is a school, Debbie, is that my understanding?
Yes, they
Okay.
applied first to teach the Connecticut appraisal law with the supervisory provisional, the 3-hour course.
Okay.
And they submitted all the criteria. And I just put this on for the agenda just to get the commission approved.
Fair enough.
approval.
So they have all their Ts are crossed and Is are dotted.
Yeah,
from their
everything. I
point of
went
view.
down, I went
Okay.
down the requirements, the checklist.
Why don't we do this one now? Can I get a motion from members of the commission on the approval of the CE Shop LLC, which is APL 0.93 on our agenda? The second call for a motion.
I'll make a
I'll make a
motion.
motion.
Okay, I'll give you Norris on the motion. John, can I make you the second?
I'll make me the second.
Okay, John is the second. Questions, concerns? Ayes,
Aye.
nays, abstentions. So that is approved. Okay. Now, next on the agenda, course approved by the department. We all have AQB, IDEC approval unless there was other notarized or noticed, excuse me. That will be APR 0.295, APR 296, APR 297, AAL 0.1037, AAL 1038, AAL 1039, AAL 1040, then AAL 1048, and AAL 1049. Any questions, concerns on those ones put forth? Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept those classes you just, as accept.
Okay, thank you. A second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Norris on the second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call it the vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions. We're in good shape. Those pass. Now we have no AQB or IDEC approval. We have 6, 7. There are 7. I will tell you, I read through the American Society of Farm Managers. I did the farming, hi-oh, and went through here. Everything from gas and minerals to rural appraisers to livestock to swine and so forth. On those, I did read that stuff thoroughly. I'm fine with those. I did not look at the appraisal bias behind the headlines by the Massachusetts Board of Realtors, nor did I look at the non-lending appraisal assignments. I only looked at that one very briefly. So are there any other comments, or especially on any of these by members of the commission?
Yeah, I looked at those. I thought the American Society for Farm Managers, I'm a farmer at heart, but I thought those classes looked really cool, really excellent. I don't have any issues with the appraisal bias for 3 hours. I think that's actually more needed. And then, but I do have an issue with the non-lending appraisal assignments, AAL 1047 for 7 hours. I went through that class and it doesn't look like, it looks like more of a, and this has come up before too over the years, more of a marketing class for appraisers trying to where to target, and it's very simple. It's not really that detailed, and some of the language used doesn't seem to be terminology too appropriate, on the tax appeal stuff, etc. I mean, at the end of it, they start talking about USPAP and a few things, but it just doesn't seem like a total of 7 hours for of actual appraising. It seems like it's more, half business and half, it talks about USPAP and other stuff. But did anybody else look at this class? Linda, did you review it?
John, I'm with you. I perused through, and my opinion here on there's business side of things and there's what we're here for. And did you think there were any hours in there that could be approved out of
I would
the 7?
say 3.
I'm kind of on the same page. I was more thinking 4, but 3 I could live. I could live with 3 in a heartbeat. Okay.
4 hours.
Any other members of the commission, who would have reviewed this and so forth? And I know, Maria, you're getting a lesson here. You're by baptism. You had no idea what you signed up for here. So, there's reading that we do during the week as Debbie sends us through the month here. So You will be fully engaged next month. Okay.
Thank you.
So, and looking
Taking
forward to your
notes and
input.
listening.
John, do you want to make a motion on that? I mean, on all those approvals, with the exception of the non-lending and revised number of hours?
So I make a motion that we accept AAL 1041 through AAL 1046 for the hours requested. However, for AAL 1047, we approve it for only 4 hours. Continue.
Can I get a second?
I'll
Calling
second.
Okay, Shauna is the second. Thank you. Questions or concerns? Comments? Hearing none, call it the vote. Ayes?
Aye.
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 Nays? Abstentions? We're good. Very good. Now, on my on what I have here, and that's because I stapled things late last night here. I'm a little out of thing here. So I show that's toward the end here, but I had 2 other comments. Is there anything else on an agenda that I may have left in the copy machine 90 miles from here, late last night when I was flying in, that I am missing? There are 2 things I wanted to bring up here. Okay, if not, the first thing I will say, oh, thank you, Debbie. And thank you for your work this month. I mean, getting us all this stuff and feeding, and it gives me, while I'm on the plane, some reading material. So it has made some of my flights, and they've been humdingers, boy, I'll tell you, with some bad flights. But rock and roll shows very well. Thank you. I would like to say, that Tom and Jenny, you opened up and a little bit of thing. Is there anything that you would like to say to us as commission members? I know you'll be working with the staff in the next week or so, or when you come up to the Nutmeg State. Or are there any things that you're seeing around the country that are red flags, or the way the market is moving, or anything that you think that we as members of the commission should be aware of? I know
Jenny,
that's
you
a
want me-
loaded question.
Yeah, that's
You
a
can go
good
first,
question.
Tom.
Oh, she's
You go
gonna let
ahead.
me go first. All right, this ought to be good. A couple things I want to. I really think it's a great idea that your commission is considering the PREA program. I appreciate Mr. Fall's presentation. I think it was really good, and I think he gave you guys a lot to think about. One of the things that I would also make you aware of is there, and he mentioned this, practicum programs. There are alternatives to PREA. You might want to consider exploring a practicum program. As a matter of fact, the state of Mississippi's had a lot of success with a practicum program as of late. And if you're curious about that and you want more information, just let us know. We can probably put you in touch with the person that kind of organized that there, and also their staff there in Mississippi, and they can hopefully, should be able to run you through how they were able to develop that and how it's worked for them. So just keep that in mind. There were a lot of good questions, and I think a couple of the commission members hit the nail on the head. You asked about cost several times. I think that that's going to be a key factor with the success of that program, is how much it's going to cost. But there are the possibilities of grant monies available for that, and also for the development of your own type of practical program if you're interested in that. So please, let us know, and we can hopefully give you some more information on that. Again, the PREA program and the goal to, bring more people into the profession is a grand proposition. And I know it's very important to the subcommittee. And as you probably know, President Biden has initiated the PAVE task force, which the subcommittee is part of. So we are very keen on trying to limit the barriers to coming into this profession. And as we go through your statutes, your regulations, your policies and so forth, we're going to be talking to your staff and possibly identifying areas where you guys might actually be exceeding the criteria in some areas. You might not even be aware of it. But we want you to think about those things and be aware of it, just because, those might be some areas that you want to change going forward. Again, we're looking forward to beginning the review. As I mentioned, we actually have already started. Again, I am thankful and appreciate all the help that the staff has given thus far. We want to come in, we want to get our review done, and we don't want to affect your operations or affect your operations as little as possible, because I know you guys got a lot to do. I'm a former state regulator. I appreciate what you're doing. I was a staff member, especially the staff, but I also, thank the commission for the time that you're dedicating to this. I know that it's not often an easy position to be in, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions. But we do appreciate it, and on behalf of the subcommittee, thank you for all your efforts. Jenny, is there anything you want to follow up with?
You stole all my thunder.
Well,
thank you for letting us.
Somebody write that down, because I very rarely succeed there.
So thank you for letting us attend and listen, and we've enjoyed it, and it's good seeing all of you, and we look forward to seeing your staff at the end of the month.
Great. So I understand then you will be meeting with our staff and doing what you have to do for a day, 2, 3, whatever that time frame is. Will you be joining us in the May meeting, or is it June meeting? Is there a follow-up that you will be meeting here with members of the commission and staff, or is that something that is not done? I'm just wanting to know the process as we live in the Zoom world. Okay.
Sure. No, I understand. And kind of like I mentioned before, Mr. Rasmussen, a lot of what we want to do is we don't want to interfere with your operations or create a hardship for you or anything like that. Predominantly, we're going to be talking with the staff from this point on. We're going to be going over our findings with them. I know that they're going to be communicating that to you guys as well. We will issue some preliminary findings. We'll talk about those with the staff. And then, of course, you guys will have an opportunity to comment on that, or if we cover something that you don't feel like we did it appropriately or accurately, you can address that as well at that point. But again, predominantly the rest of our review, the time we're going to be spending with the staff. It's going to be with the staff. If you feel like you would like us to come back and have further discussions, we're always at your disposal for that. Don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be happy to come and do that.
All right, great. Any other questions by members of the commission while we have Tom and Jenny here?
Real quick, can you just quickly say that Mississippi had done what?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Galvin, Mississippi initiated a program that they call I think it's called MPAT, MPAT program, which is a practicum program that they established there, where they've had some pretty good success. I can't remember the actual number of participants that they've put through, but I think it's been, again, fairly successful. It was a program that they developed kind of as an alternative to a PAREA type program. But it is a practicum program, and it is part of the criteria. If you have adopted the criteria, then that is available to you if that's something you want to consider.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other members of the commission or staff? Or then I'm going to open up, if you don't mind, Jenny and Tom, to the general public who are still on, if you had any questions to talk to Tom or Jenny. Okay, hearing none. Well, we thank you, and thank you for joining us here today. And you're in good hands with the staff, and we take it, from there. I also want to say thank you to Pam and everyone putting that chart together that we had asked for the closed cases. So, job well done, folks. And last but not least, I don't know how to say this, Linda. Do you want to, since you can't, you have tough communications right now, so I guess I'll speak for you. Or can you speak? Are you able to speak on there? We don't hear you yet.
Debbie, you're on mute if she's talking through your computer.
Thanks.
There we
Sorry
go.
about that.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can now, barely. Yep.
Okay, great. wanted to let all of you know that I have decided to resign from the commission. I am 75 and a half years old, and I have decided to spend the rest of the time having a lot of fun. So we've got a bunch of vacations planned, and my son-in-law is taking over the company, and I'm so happy that I got to spend this time with you guys, both at the very beginning of the commission with Jerry, and then again coming back. It's been a wonderful experience. If you want to use my house to send people to appraise at the, with some of your tasks, send them down. I'll let them walk through everything. And anything else, if you have any special things that you need done, let me know. I don't mind. But I'm just going to take a step back and start enjoying things a lot more.
Well, you deserve it.
Linda, I think you're right. So many years ago, you and I were brought in along with a few others in some interesting times on the commission. We've seen a few things over the years. I'm so happy for you that you're going to be on the river cruises. You're going to spend time with your family. You will be missed. And that's very heartfelt. And we cannot, the words somehow, thank you, seem hollow for the amount of time and effort that we've gone and how many times you and I drove through snowstorms to try to get blizzards to get to a meeting, over the years. And but you know what? You gave us notice 2 years ago, and you stayed on and stayed on and stayed on. And Maria, we can't be happy you're here. We have other slots we're hoping to get filled, on the commission. That's for sure. But Linda, nothing but the very, very best and heartfelt thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Right. I want to thank you, Linda, too, because it was nice to have another residential person. So, especially in the last 6 months, because my work was really overwhelmed. So I wasn't as involved as I was in the past. So it was good to know that you were there. So you will surely be missed.
If you get
And again, thank you.
Brian into signing up for the commission. He's good. All right. Thank you.
Go ahead, Norris.
Have a great time.
She done?
And I'm sure I'll be the new Jackie.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Love you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Hey,
Norris,
hold on one second. Hey, Linda, lots of love to you. Enjoy all the cruises. Hey, Jenny, I wanted to ask you one question. I was reading about LA, the taxes, and I noticed all those properties down there, all those mansions, and the appraised values and what everybody's selling all that property for. And it doesn't look too good. But now let me ask you, do you think that's gonna, you're gonna see legislation like that throughout the country?
Boy, you're catching me off guard. I do not know the answer to that one.
I mean, if you notice, I saw, I've been reading about it and I go, geez, this house went for this? Because everybody's trying to get out of paying that $1 million tax to the city of LA. I go, is this going to catch on? Because they're going to use it. I understand what they're using the money for, which is a good thing, but I'm sitting there watching what the property, what the prices of these houses are going for. And I'm sitting there saying, is this going to catch on?
Norris, Norris, believe it or not, there's been something very similar to that in Yonkers, New York for the last 25 years. You pay an exit tax anytime you sell your house, regardless of what the price point is when you leave. So they love to have you come in, but when you leave, you have to pay a tax on the way out. So it's it's an offshoot of that. So it's amazing, but interesting.
I just see the numbers out of LA. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right,
is there anything else, folks, before we come in? Thank you. Yes, Shauna, it's all yours.
Well, we had Maria introduce herself. Maybe we should tell her a little bit about ourselves. I mean,
Go
she
ahead,
doesn't know who
start.
we are.
Start, Shauna.
Okay, well, I've been in the appraisal business since 1987. I'm the assessor of Cromwell for the last 20 years. Before that, I was the assessor I was in Bridgeport and Brookfield as well. I've been on this commission since 1994, and generally I really scrutinize the residential ones as we talk about those, but that's usually my job. I did review schooling at one time. Oh yeah, that's right, Linda did that, so we'll all have to do that in the future. But that's it. Welcome.
John?
Welcome, Maria. I'm John Galvin. I'm a MAI designated commercial real estate appraiser here in Connecticut. I cover the Waterbury area. And I just, I've been doing it like Shauna for, I think I started in '89, but I was in the Navy before that and did 10 years in the reserves and active duty. And I just appraise commercial property. That's all I do. I cover the state and I do a lot of special property. I've been on the commission now for since 2014. And, you know, you could be a huge asset here, even though you're not an appraiser, as Norris is, because oftentimes we get into situations where Sean and myself, et cetera, we could get blinders on. We're just focusing on the appraisal process, and there may be something else out there that we're missing. And that's where Norris comes in and helps guide us, et cetera. So welcome.
Thank you.
Norris?
Hi, Maria Norris. Maria Norris Hawkins. I've been on the board since 2004 as a public member. I originally worked for Governor O'Neill, State Senator John Larson, who's now Congressman Larson. I've done lobbying. On my business side, I have an insurance business, but I do surety bonds and bail bonds. And when I was appointed in 2004, I was appointed by Jody Rell. And this has been interesting. I didn't realize what I was going to get myself into. I always say that from the beginning. I can remember the chief of staff to Jody Rose, a friend of mine. She goes, "You sure you want to do this?" And I go, "This should be easy." I just thought it was like real estate. It's been a tremendous learning experience. It's been a great learning experience, and I enjoy it very much. So I would say to you, you're going to be a little bit lost from the beginning, but I had two great guys right next to me all the time, Sean Natalia and Mr. Buckley, and I learned, and I always view this as always a great learning experience, so enjoy yourself. And if you need anything, you can always call any of us. So thank you.
Linda, do you want to say anything more? I know you said your goodbyes, but you know, you're still on till this meeting ends. Here we go. Oh, we got to go. I'm so sorry, you know, with the phone. You never sound so good, Linda.
I'm calling in. I'm calling in.
Okay, and Maria, welcome. I'm Jerry Rasmus. Okay, go ahead, Linda. I'm going.
Okay. I'm thinking back to Jerry, the very first appraisal commission, remember?
Yeah.
I don't even remember who was there except Frank O'Neill and you and me. And then coming back on was a real treat after all this time. This is something I really enjoy. And as most of you know, I love training appraisers. I've trained well more than 2 dozen residential appraisers. And I'm still being asked to do it. And I am still teaching. I'm teaching for a school in Bridgeport, appraisal classes and all those continuing ed. So that's good. Keeps me a little bit busy. But I really sincerely enjoy working with everybody on this committee. It took me a long time to decide that I wanted to back off. But there's just a lot of other things we still want to do. So we're going for it. All of you, the very best in health and everything else for the coming years and forever. Take care. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. And Maria, I'm Jerry, and the acting chair. I've been in the business a little over 40 years now, and been on the commission, I think, 28 years, and which is heck of a sentence, but I live in the commercial world, and more specifically in the senior housing and healthcare arena. So that's where my work is. I work for Cushman & Wakefield, and I run the national practice on the platform, coast to coast and so forth. So that is, in essence, my background. So
he has more miles. He has more miles than anybody else because he flies all the time.
I'm in the air a fair amount, but welcome aboard. We're so happy to have you on, and you will see everything going on. Just want to say thank you for the staff and everything, and thank you for our guests. Enjoy the balance of the month when everyone gets together here. And can I get a motion to call this meeting, to a conclusion?
Linda should do it.
Yes.
Oh, I hung up again. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm lip reading. Linda is making a motion. Okay.
Maria should second it.
A second. Maria, do you want to second it?
I second that motion.
Very good. The changing of the torch, handing of the torch over. Second. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Thank you all. Have a great spring day. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Bye. Bye, Linda.
See you soon, guys. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.